This is where you realize number one, you're either a winner or a loser. Look, I 50x my income when I changed my life. I'm doing better than everyone else I know. No, I'm not even joking.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Danielle is chaotically trying to get ready for live streaming. How's everybody been? It's been a long time, it feels. I'm just setting up the Bubba cam. Let's see if it's working. Hi, guys. That was good. Okay. We're just going to put this here for a second. How's everybody doing? Oh my God, this is just like such chaotic energy. I am trying my best. That's how I'm doing, okay? Bubba is here. Bubba is asleep. Update on Bubba is he recently got transitioned off his medication. And he's thriving, okay? Oh God, okay. You guys gotta bear with me. Okay, for those of you that maybe don't follow me on Instagram and have been wondering where the fuck I've been, I was busy being so wealthy, gallivanting across Europe. My mom and I and my aunt, we went to Italy and Greece for 2 weeks. So that's where I've been, not live streaming. Oh God, I gotta unplug my headphones 1 sec. Anyway, this is like my first official week back to work permanently. Fuck, this is not long enough. I was working last week, but anyway, this is like my first full week back to work. And as you can tell, it's been about as chaotic as the energy of this live stream. So where do I need to? Okay, I need to be here. Maybe that's better. I don't know. Okay, let's see. Oh, it's not even open. The cord is like right across my desk, so this is going to drive me nuts, but we're trying our best, okay? It's just unfortunate that our best isn't very good. Okay, I want to say congrats to Zip, who is celebrating 22 months of membership and says, waiting for knowledge on how to not run a Ponzi. And to this, I will say... That was so fucking loud. Was that super loud for all of you or just me? I don't even know where my sound thingy is. Oh no, guys. I am unwell. Monica says, I'm ready. Erin says, you might be shocked to hear this. And sadly, I'm shocked. But well, I am still not rich even after these few weeks you were away. You know what? Neither am I. Let's be honest. Before we go any further, let me tell you what I'm drinking today because... if you're new here, this is actually the Danielle Ryan Drinks Various Sodas show. This week we have something new. This is the Cove Soda Orange Cream flavor. So this is like the Canadian version of Poppy. You can get Poppy in Canada, but this is like a Canadian company. Anyway, I'm so rich that I finally bought a Costco membership this week. And anyway, they had this at Costco. So I was like, I might as well try it, see if it's any good. I don't know. I tried they have like a rocket popsicle flavor one. It was really good, but really, really sweet. So we'll see. Okay, this is actually insanely good. This tastes like a creamsicle and it's only 10 calories. They must sweeten it with like erythritol or something. Yeah. Okay. Erythritol. So if you're allergic to artificial sweeteners, this isn't for you, but it's delicious. So if you have a local Canadian Costco membership, you should run and buy some. I feel so bad for anyone who finds this live stream that is not one of my regular followers, because you're going to be like, this bitch is annoying as fuck. Dropping Knowledge says, I'm here in my garage. You know what? I should have live streamed from the parking garage of my building. I feel like that would have been very, very fitting for this stream. So I definitely dropped the ball on that one for sure. Hello, Kate. Maria's here. Three Flamingo says, I'm a little excited. Today is the day we finally get rich with minimal effort. That is correct. That is the energy we're channeling. So I want you all to
I want all of you to like let that one especially like deeply sink in.
let it sink in that we are here to get rich. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. I'm optimistic that you will retire before the heat death of the universe. You know what? There's probably going to be a nuclear war, and I just hope I'm in the epicenter when it happens. That's all I have to say about that. It's not looking good for humanity, but that's a story for another day. Zip says it was appropriately loud for air horns. Okay, good to know, because I'm getting freaking blasted over here. Yes, William, thank you so much. Today we are here to discuss Tai Lopez. So thank you for bearing with me on that very, very chaotic intro. Let me just timestamp this so I can fix it in those of you watching the replay. And for the rest of you watching live, let's suffer together. So for those of you that missed the news, one of the OG grifters of the internet, in my opinion, is getting sued by the SEC. So we are going to take a look at all of that. And yes, we will be looking at his old content first. So this comment says, do you ever remember the guy running tiny classified ads from his one-bedroom apartment? Okay, I don't know that specific person, but we are going to take a look at like the OG Tai Lopez content. So for those of you that don't know who this guy is, let's just set the scene because you might be familiar with this particular ad. So this video on YouTube has over 72 million views. You can see it right there. 72 million views. Crazy. And this is like, in my opinion, one of the most infamous YouTube ads. Like I remember being fed this ad literally 10 years ago. So we'll watch it. And we'll watch some of his other content just so you can kind of get a feel for like who this guy is and what's going on. And then we'll get into the lawsuit and all of that. But basically what you want to know about this guy, again, this is just allegedly in my opinion, he is, you know, of the same kind of caliber as like I would say, you know, the Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosis of the world. He's not necessarily like a life coach per se, but he definitely sells the concept of success and business. Like he sells courses and knowledge or whatever the fuck this thing says. So I apologize for all my swear words today. It's been a rough day, guys. I'm trying my best. So if you have children in the room, maybe tell them to go away.
Now, easy, you can just learn how to clear them off and be literally fine.
Learn how to clear off your children and you'll be literally fine. Okay, let's go ahead and hear what this guy has to say.
Here in my garage, just bought this new Lamborghini here. It's fun to drive up here in the Hollywood Hills. But a lot more than materialistic things. Knowledge. In fact, I'm a lot more proud of these 7 new bookshelves that I had to get installed to hold 2,000 new books that I bought. It's like the billionaire Warren Buffett says, the more you learn, the more you earn.
Do we think that he's actually read all of those books? Let me know in the comments. Do you think it's possible for him to have read all 7 bookshelves full of books, or did he just buy all these books for the video? Drop your guesses in the comments. Let me know.
Now, maybe you've seen my TEDx talk where I talk about how I read a book a day. You know, I read a book a day not to show off. It's, again, about the knowledge. In fact...
Okay, but who has time to read a book a day? I read a lot of books. I think I've read almost 40 books this year. And to me, that's a lot. Like, I spend probably the last hour to 2 hours every night before I go to sleep. Mostly I'm reading fiction, let's be honest. But I spend the last hour to 2 hours every night before I go to sleep reading books. But like, I could not read a book a day. That would take me literally the whole day. When are you working and making money? Do you have a trust fund? I have so many questions. Also, we need to find his TEDx talk.
The real reason I keep this Lamborghini here is that it's a reminder that dreams are still possible, because it wasn't that long ago that I was in a little town across the country sleeping on a couch in a mobile home with only $47 in my bank account. I didn't have a college degree. I had no opportunity.
Get your coaching grifter bingo cards ready, as he just mentioned his rags to riches origin story. Thank you so much.
But you know what? Something happened that changed my life. I bumped into a mentor and another mentor and a few more mentors. I found 5 mentors, and they showed me what they did to become multimillionaires. Again, it's not just about money. It's about the good life, health, wealth, love, and happiness. And so I recorded a little video. It's actually on my website. You can click here on this video and it'll take you to my website where I share 3.
Yo, if you're a billionaire, millionaire, whatever you are, can you invest in a gimbal? I think it's like $300 and it would stabilize your camera and not make me feel like I'm going to throw up. Just a request.
Things that they taught me. 3 things that you can implement today no matter where you are. Now, this isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. You know, like they say, if things sound too good to be true, they are too good to be true. I'm not promising you that tomorrow you're going to be able to go out and buy a Lamborghini. But what I am telling you is it can happen faster than you think if you know the proven steps. So I record a little 2-minute video on my website. Like I said, now it's not the most professional. I just shot it here with my iPhone, but it's real. Nobody can argue. This is my true story. And I'm going to give you the 3 most important things you can do today. So click the link, go there. It's completely free to watch it. It's just a couple minutes. Invest in yourself. Always be curious. Don't be a cynic. Okay? People see videos like this and they say, oh, that's not real. That's for somebody else. Don't listen. Don't listen.
Don't listen to those people. Listen to me and only me. And more importantly, when you come to my website, make sure you bring your credit card, because you're going to need it, because I'm definitely going to sell you something once you get to my website. And I'm probably going to sell you the concept of being as successful as me, because guys, I'm super successful. And you just have to take my word for it. I don't really have a track record to prove that that's true, but I'm telling you it's true. So you just have to believe what I'm saying. Okay, thanks.
An optimist. Like Conrad Hilton, the man who started Hilton Hotel, he said that when he was 15 years old, he read a book by Helen Keller. And that book changed his life. Books can change your life. And in that book, Helen Keller said optimism. So if you're a cynic, if you're a pessimist, you don't need to click here. Don't worry about it. I don't need to talk to everybody. But if you're somebody who knows that there's something better, because the dream is possible. You know, for some of you watching, it's not necessarily a Lamborghini. Maybe it's a new job, a new opportunity, starting your own company. Maybe it's a new lifestyle without so much stress, traveling the world, doing those things that you know you're destined to do. You can't do those unless you understand finances. Money, I don't call it money anymore. I call it fuel units. You must have enough fuel units to live out your dream and to live.
I don't call it money anymore. I call it fuel units. Oh my God, I got to write that down. That's going to be a timestamp. New soundbite coming soon. That is gold. Comedic gold, guys.
Live out your destiny. So I'll see you on my website. It's a quick video, and you'll see there, absolutely free. So just click this video, and you'll be taken there in a second. And I'm excited to share this amazing stuff. You'll see. Not because of anything.
Oh my God, it just keeps going on. It's like when you have a word count in an essay that you're trying to hit, and you just keep adding words to the end to try and hit that word count.
Me, but because I've been fortunate enough to learn from mentors many years ahead of me. Not just in books like these, although I love books, but also real in-person mentors. So let me share with you these 3 tips that have made all the difference in my life. They're practical. You can do them today. You can start on them today. All right? See you there on my site.
I'll see you there for sure. There was a comment here about, this one. The one I already have on screen. It says the constant citing of someone else suggests no original thought. And I honestly think that that's kind of like the quintessential depiction of the industry as a whole, the self-help coaching, internet guru sort of space, is that so many of these people, and I'm speaking from like my own direct experience in the industry as well, not just like yapping, but like even when I was a coach, I would be encouraged by the people that I was paying to just, you know, take what you've learned from books you've read and package it into your own offer. It's like none of what these people are saying really is revolutionary, and they're all just kind of like carbon copies of each other. I mean, how many times have we watched Stacey Bayman and then clients of Stacey Bayman, and how they all sound exactly like her, who sounds like Brooke Castillo? Like they're all part of the same lineage, and they all sound the exact same, and they're all selling the exact same offers. I mean, I have multiple videos on this channel that show the like copy paste nature of the coaching industry, specifically when it comes to like Instagram marketing. And I think that that's essentially what we're seeing here as well. Is like it happens in marketing, but it also happens in the information that they're actually packaging and selling. None of it is really coming from a place of lived experience so much as just my mentor told me this, therefore I'm going to tell you. And now you can say that I told you. Just a very good example, I suppose, of the common themes we discuss here on the channel. Yeah, I was wondering this too. Marie's asking, can a book be a mentor? Because he made a comment saying, oh, mentors from the books I've read, but also mentors I've had in real life. I don't read a book and go, oh, this guy's my mentor. I go, I read so-and-so's book and this is what I learned. Like, what? What reality are we living in? Okay. Let's go to his website. So in the description here in my garage, the more you learn, the more you earn. It's all about knowledge. Bill Gates and Warren Buffett both agreed that if they could have one superpower, it would be the world's fastest readers. So then he goes on to sell you the 67 steps. That's a lot of steps. You know, sometimes we get like a 5-step program, a 3-step program. 67 steps? Who has time for that? I guess this is why I'm broke and he is so rich. Only 5% of people will ever learn how to use this secret formula. Watch how I went from only $47 in my bank account to living in Beverly Hills. Again, coaching bingo cards ready. We are saying, you know, this is an exclusive secret formula that nobody seems to know, but also we went from having $47 to being so wealthy. Okay, let's go ahead and watch this video.
All right, I'm going to give you 3 tips based off this pyramid of wealth. This is something I wish they had taught me in school, but everything you need
The pyramid of wealth. Okay.
to know about money pretty much is right here. There's 5 levels, and I'm going to show you these levels, and then I'm going to show you 3 ways that you can move up the pyramid of wealth. And remember, I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about living an abundant life, a life that you're doing the things you want to do. You don't feel the pressures that most people feel. You have free time. You have time to enjoy, create. Your social life is growing. Your bank account is growing. Your health is improving. All those things that everybody wants are based off this basic pyramid and the 3 ways, the 3 free tips I'm going to give you to move up. Well, the first one is debt.
Oh. Sorry, the Amazon delivery guy just buzzed my house, so the dogs are barking at the phone because it's ringing.
This is when you're behind.
Oh, Bubba, it's okay.
Most people in the world end up here. I ended up here. But if you pay attention to this video, in just the next few minutes, I'm going to show you that you don't have to stay here. Now, the level right above this isn't that much better either. The level right above this is scarcity. And it's interesting. I showed somebody this pyramid not too long ago, and they're like, Tai, you won't believe what happened in my life. I used to be making, she was a friend of mine, and she was working at a Korean restaurant here in Beverly Hills. And I think she was making 10 or 11 bucks an hour. And she started using these 3 principles that I'm about to give you, and she saw her life go up. She said,
I'm so confused. I mean, I'm not really confused. I know why they do this, but there seems to be this pattern from like no matter whose content we're watching on this channel where they keep alluding to the, you know, the 3 things. I'm going to teach you the 3 steps, or, you know, I have this 5-step system and I'm going to teach it to you. They keep like teasing it, but then they spend the first 3/4 of the video talking about something completely not what the 3 steps are. Like setting the foundation. It's like, just fucking tell me what you want to tell me. Why are we wasting time? It's not a pyramid. It's a triangular business model. Isn't that the truth?
It's not a pyramid scheme. It's not even a scheme per se.
It's honestly not even a scheme per se. Maybe, possibly, allegedly.
$65 an hour doing what she likes, and she's getting twice the pay or more than twice the pay in half the time. So I'll show you how you can be a success story, hopefully. Now, I can't guarantee you're going to have the exact same success as hers, but I'll tell you this. I've shown this to millions of people, and every single day I'm bombarded with people saying, this changed my life, this changed my life, this changed my life. So pay attention. I'm not going to keep this video up for long. If you know me, I like to test lots of things. I like to find a group of people that's like-minded, so I put a video up like this.
Oh my goodness. The sound didn't go off in my ears. Amy, thank you so much. Amy just gifted 5 channel memberships.
Now you are one of us.
Thank you so much. And welcome to the membership. Those of you that are new here to that, I just want to remind you all this.
It sounds like a get-rich-quick scheme.
Yes, thank you. You will get rich quick. We all will.
We are all going to get rich inside the Millionaire Mastermind. So welcome. Welcome to the land of the rich and wealthy. Yes. Thank you so much. Okay, sorry. I'm just getting distracted by the notifications. Canada's most fierce guard dogs. Yeah, if you heard the corgi having a colossal meltdown, I did mute myself for a second because she's crazy, that dog, let me tell you.
Keep it up for a little while. So if you snooze, you lose. You might lose out on what I'm about to say.
Yeah, he's only going to keep this video up for a little while. It was published literally 10 years ago. That is correct.
And then scarcity. These 2 levels of the pyramid are where most people operate in all areas of their life. Health-wise, they're overweight, they're not feeling good. Wealth-wise, the average person comes out of college, tremendous amount of debt now. You see this all over the news. And then social life. People don't like their life, man. They don't like the people they're around. They're being around low-quality people. And then, of course, happiness. I read somewhere where like 20% of people are now.
Can someone please in the comments define what low quality people are? Who is a low quality person? Curious.
Now on medication, and 30 to 50% of people are lonely, depressed, have anxiety attacks, and that's these 2 levels. Now, if you look at these financially, obviously debt is when you're zero, below zero. Scarcity, though, there was a Nobel Prize winning economist, Daniel Kahneman, who did research, I think it was at Princeton University. Him and his team found that scarcity is under $72,000 a year. You can Google it. There's a famous article. And most people are below that. Now, what I'm showing you today, these 3 tips, is not just about money, but it certainly needs to apply.
Scarcity on what scale? Like, I feel like that's such a generalization because depending what country you live in, where within that country you live, that number is going to change dramatically. Like, I live in Canada's most expensive city, or one of Canada's most expensive cities, and $72,000 probably would be considered scarcity. But I could live in my hometown, where I'm from, in rural Ontario, and make $72,000, and that would be fine. Like, that's such a relative summary or conclusion to come to. I don't know what article he's referencing. If someone has read it, please let me know what he's talking about. But I just feel like that's such a weird generalization to make. Yeah, exactly. Those of you that are just jumping on, Jackie says, I remember this guy's ads popping up and I couldn't wait to skip. He showed up so much a few years ago. Yeah, we just watched the full length Here in My Garage ad, and that one definitely used to pop up for me all the time. But it's 10 years old now. It has over 72 million views, which is crazy. Yeah, famous article. I read it somewhere. That's the vibe he's giving, you know, like, trust me, bro.
Apply to money, because to get the good life, to get what you want, you're going to have health, wealth, love, and happiness all working in your favor. If you feel like you're here, I got good news and bad news. The good news is I've been in these stages and there's a way out. You can recover. You can rise up. The bad news the billionaire Warren Buffett gave when he said...
Also, this is like not totally related, but my wheels are spinning here. So based on this drawing, this pyramid that he's drawing, he's saying debt is anything below zero. And then scarcity is anywhere, I'm assuming, making up to $72,000 a year. But like, people can make $72,000 or more and still have a ton of debt. So do they just fall into the debt category? Or like, I have questions.
Be careful of getting too far behind. Be careful of procrastinating and letting yourself stay here, because it says sometimes the chains of habit become, they're too weak to be felt until they're too strong to be broken. Meaning sometimes you're here and you're like, well, life's not going that well for me, but I'll recover. But he said they're like chains. You don't feel them at first. They're like addictions and habits, procrastination, not knowing how to motivate yourself, not really pushing yourself to your maximum potential. He said the next thing you know, those chains lock up and you can hardly get them off. And you see that financially. Sometimes you get too much in debt. You get too far behind. I saw this even in my family. Somebody who said, oh, tomorrow I'll learn to do this. So pay attention today. Life is always at a crossroads. I hope today will be a crossroads. You'll look back at some point in your life and say, I had enough pain. Now's the time to move above these. And what's above these is the third level in the pyramid. And this is what I call healthy stage. This is where you wake up, you feel good. You're not necessarily a millionaire, a billionaire. You're not necessarily, ripped and have a six-pack, but you feel the momentum starting to go in your direction.
Okay, but I thought we were talking about money. So why are we now talking about having a six-pack and being ripped? Like, he's only talking about health in our bank accounts, right? I'm confused.
All right. You got to get here at the minimum. And then above this, there's prosperity. Prosperity is the level that...
prosperity, like the gospel you are currently trying to sell us, sir.
Not only are you doing well, you feeling good, but you're getting ahead. Like in your bank account. Here is where you're paying all the bills. You don't have too much stress every day. The first of the month comes around. You're covered. You're good. You're healthy. Prosperity is when not only you're doing that, but you're starting to get ahead. Bank account's starting to go up.
Again, I find this weird that he put like a monetary value on the first two parts of the pyramid. But then as he starts to talk about these more sort of vague and ambiguous goal posts, there's no monetary marker. Like, again, to my previous example, if I was still living in like my small hometown in Ontario, and what did he say? $72,000. If I was making that money, I could absolutely be in the prosperity thing. Like when I lived there, my mortgage was like $500 biweekly. So $1,000 a month. And you could absolutely afford that if you were making $72,000 a year, and you would not have to worry about your bills, and you would have, money in investments or whatever he was just saying. Like, I just don't understand the fixation on putting a monetary value on the debt and the scarcity piece, and then not mentioning it elsewhere, but also not having the context or nuance of different people's different situations. When specifically you're trying to sell them this concept of success. Like, it's so different for everyone. I honestly think he just put that $72,000 in the scarcity category to try and make people feel bad about themselves. Because like, oh, you're making $50,000 a year and you're actually able to afford your life. No, you're not. You're actually not doing as well as you think you are. You should feel shitty about yourself and you should buy my online course. Ugh, like it's just so gross. Just walked in on him drawing the pyramid. What in the Michael Scott is going on? So true.
Raise your hand if you want to get rich.
If you want to get rich, you're in the right spot. Let's continue to find out how.
Body's starting to recover and feel better. Your social life, you're winning friends and influencing people. Your happiness, not only...
Isn't that a book? Winning Friends and Influencing People? Isn't that like one of the most famous books of all time?
only do you feel good, but you feel amazing. And the last level here is what I call wealth and impact. And this is where you change the world. You see this with
Exactly.
famous philanthropists and Bill Gates starting the Bill Gates Foundation and all. At some point, you get so far ahead that you can have impact on the world. You can really change the world. And I'll tell you, my life at one point was a nightmare. And a lot of people see me now and they're like, okay, Tai, you've got this and that, and you've got cool cars and a cool lifestyle. And remember, it's not about that. It's not about who has the most money. It's not about who has the most Ferraris and Lamborghinis. Those are cool. I love having Ferraris and Lamborghinis, but I always keep my priorities straight. I want to have a good life. I want to have a life that feels like heaven on earth. I want to wake up every day and every day is optimized. I'm not waiting for a vacation. I'm not waiting, oh, thank God it's...
I wonder how he feels about that now with this lawsuit. Does he feel like he's living in paradise? Like he wakes up every day living his dream? I wonder.
Friday. A lot of people, thank God it's Friday. Well, what about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? If you don't like those days, you don't like your life. And the reason that I always keep this in my mind is I remember when I was here and here. And I'll just tell you, I think today could be a big day for you. You know, you're one of the few people that's getting to watch this video. This is the stuff that they should have taught us when we were in school, but they didn't. And there's lots of reasons the system failed us. And it failed you. I went to public school. You know, I was born to a single mom. My dad was in prison when I was born. They didn't have much money. My grandma helped my mom out, luckily, so that I wasn't completely broke, but I didn't grow up in Beverly Hills here. And at one point in my life, I tried lots of different things, and I lost everything, basically. And I was sleeping on a couch, and I had $47 in my bank account. I was in Clayton, North Carolina, in a mobile home. And I remember laying on that couch and thinking, like, is that it? And the good news, at that point, of course, I had basically no money. I was right here. Unfortunately, I had to come to that place. Maybe you had that before, where you got to get some real pain around your life before you act.
Okay, where are the 3 steps, guys? We started this video under the promise that we were going to get the 3 steps to success. Haven't seen them yet. Harrison, please get it correct. It's a Lamborghini, not a Ferrari. So check yourself, okay?
But I started, thank God, I took action. And I'm going to show you the 3 things now that I learned and the 3 things that I took action on that completely transformed my life and helped me start moving up. And so let me write the first one here.
Okay, here we go. He's going to write it down for us so we don't have to get our pens and
When
paper.
I was laying
He's
on
gonna
that
do it for
couch,
us.
I started reaching out and finding mentors, and I started reading books. Maybe you've seen my TEDx talk where I talk about how I read a book a day. And I started to really implement these techniques. And what I learned from these mentors and these books and seminars and conferences and people who were living an amazing life way better than I was living at the time was, number 1, you have to know your life's purpose. And so few people.
And what's your life purpose, sir? I have a few guesses. Oh, no.
Ever get to a place where they can confidently say, I know why I'm here. And if you are watching this and you're resonating, you're like, yeah, I understand that. I feel like I'm behind right now. Or maybe you feel like you're doing well, but you've plateaued and you're not going up as quickly as you should. really begin to examine how well you know your life's purpose.
Okay, this is something I've spent quite some time sort of thinking about. If anyone here in the chat has been part of the coaching industry specifically, in that, much like myself, you either were a coach at one point or hired a coach, worked with a coach. This is a large part, I would argue, of the like coaching ethos, is this idea of like discovering your life purpose and fulfilling a purpose or mission greater than you, and basically being fed this narrative that the reason why you're so dissatisfied with where you're at in your life right now, if you're feeling sad or you're feeling miserable or you're upset with the life that you have, it's because you haven't aligned yourself with your life's purpose. That's what I was told. That was something that I used to really genuinely believe. That was something I used to, try and help people discover when I would sell mindset coaching services. This idea of, having to discover your purpose. And if you aren't living in alignment with that purpose, well, then you're not really, living a life that could be fulfilling. And it's just like, there's something so toxic to me now, thinking about this concept, especially when it comes to like building your career around what your life's purpose is. There's something so toxic about that pressure, I think, of having to monetize the things that you're passionate about and having to monetize your life's purpose and live in alignment with that. It's like, I don't know. I think it's important to understand what your values are and to live in a way that aligns with what those values are. But I just don't think we need to spend so much time stressing out about what our life's purpose is and we must live in fulfillment of that purpose and blah, 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 blah. It's just a way to like really set yourself up for failure, I think, in my opinion, because it's impossible to completely, fully... First of all, what the fuck is a life purpose? That's probably going to change as your life changes, as things happen to you, your priorities change. So I would argue that no one really has like one set purpose in life, but also it's just like it can be so disheartening when you aren't able to then build a career fulfilling your life's purpose. Oh, well, then what does that say about me? That must make me feel really shitty. I don't know. I don't know if that made any sense, but that's just how I feel. Julia says, it's so interesting about how he says only a few people ever discover their life's purpose, but that's step one. That's why you got to buy his online course, because you are meant to be one of the few select people that's able to discover your life's purpose and live in alignment with it. Zip says, the dissonance between selling you on the idea of being meant for more while also advising you to optimize for revenue with no regard for ethics is quite something. Ain't that the truth?
You should be able to say it very quickly. And I had a mentor, Joel Salatin, and he was very clear what his life's purpose was. He was into organic farming, and he said he was a Christian and he used to pray. And he would say his life's purpose was, thank God,
totally
thank you,
agree,
God,
Monica,
for letting me bring the gift of good food to people. Now, you might think, when I was young and I heard him say that, I thought that was like funny. But now I realize that was him reiterating his life purpose. And everybody has a different one. For him, it was healthy food. And I had another mentor, and his was writing. He was a journalist, and he was teaching people. And that was his life's purpose, to be a teacher. And over again, you'll be able to find, if you know the techniques. Now,
But isn't that so boring? Isn't that so boring to just pick one thing and that's your entire life's purpose? Like, I see so much discourse online, specifically in like the parenting space, for example, where mothers like lose themselves because they make their entire life's purpose raising their children. And then they forget that they're like allowed to have hobbies and a life outside of being a mom. And I think that that's a great example of how trying to put ourselves in one box of like, my life's purpose is X, you're basically just like turning yourself off from any other opportunities. And it just feels really monotonous and boring and unfulfilling, honestly, to be like, I was destined for this one very specific thing, and I'm just going to live that out day in and day out forever for the rest of my life. Like, that actually sounds like my worst nightmare.
Keep moving through these three, but there's an exact way, and I'll show you a little bit later how you can figure out a simple formula that you'll know what your career should be, what kind of people you should be spending time with, how to know, how to feel fulfilled. Because just a little note, it's not the same for everybody. And one of the things the school system lies to us about is just saying everybody's life's purpose is go to college, get a 9-to-5 job, get a house with 2 kids in the suburbs. And there's nothing wrong with those things, but it's not for everybody. And the better you can be at finding your specific, unique life purpose, the quicker you'll move up that pyramid of success and wealth. All right, the second thing here, let's see if I can fit all 3 of these on this board, is you have to know how to win friends and influence people. That was a famous book title, but it's true. One of the skills I wish I...
Just pausing to address this question, this comment. This comment says, I think some people can be successful focusing on one thing. Others have big career changes. It's not one size fits all. I'm not saying your success has to be multifaceted. I'm just saying that even if we look at like an Olympic athlete who has built an entire career around being a hockey player, let's say, that doesn't necessarily mean that their entire life's purpose is to be an Olympic hockey player. It's like if we only pick one thing to define our life's purpose, that feels really sad to me. I can be really good at one thing, but that doesn't mean that's my entire life's purpose. Maybe my life's purpose is to be an Olympic athlete, but it's also to be, a wife or a husband or a dad or whatever. Like, there's so many other things than just like trying to convince people that you have to figure out what your life's purpose is. I think that there's something so toxic about trying to convince people that this is the only way to be successful.
I had learned growing up that they forgot to teach us is you have to have powerful social skills. You have to know how to find mentors. If you're starting a business, maybe you need to...
You could just find mentors by reading a book. Remember, per his own advice from the original video we watched, if you read a book by someone, they are now your mentor. When did you get back here? I didn't even know Bubba was in the room with me.
Know how to find business partners, how to find investors. I did a TEDx talk about how I read a book a day, and I talked about the law of 33%, how you have to spend 33% of your life around people that are below you, meaning you can help them, 33% of your time around people that are on your level, right? Those are your friends. And then 33% of your time around mentors, around people who push you, around people that are 20 years ahead of where you...
Okay, how do we define people who are below us? What a weird thing to say. You have to spend 33% of your time around people who are beneath you. So find the biggest losers that you could possibly ever associate yourself with and spend 30% of your time with them. Okay? You are beneath me. So insulting.
Want to be. And there's an old saying related to this, that your income in your life will be the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And so when I was laying on that couch and I wanted to move up this pyramid, that was one of the big breakthroughs. And I began to change my social circle. And right away, it's like amazing. It's somewhat remarkable how quickly implementing...
When I was laying on the couch and I wanted to move up the pyramid, oh my God, I got to timestamp that one too. That's so good. Sorry, I'm just writing that down.
These into your life will start to change your life. Because this, of course, number 1, number 2, now I begin to couple and add them all together with number 3. Number 3, and again, something that you and I didn't learn growing up, what they should have taught us, what the system failed us on teaching us, was I began to understand what motivated me, how to overcome procrastination. And I'll tell you what, these things right here, I call procrastination the killer of hopes and dreams. If you've got big plans for your life and it's not working out like it wasn't working out for me, it usually comes here. Because what happens is you think I'm going to work really hard, but then you can't motivate, then you put it off for another day and you begin to procrastinate. Well, what I began to learn to do was how to do half the work, but get twice as much done. There's some simple techniques, and I'll talk about these a little bit later, that you can do where you become super efficient and you begin to work smarter because believe it or not, to move up that pyramid of success and wealth, it's not just about working harder.
I just can't get over the fact he's calling this the pyramid of success. It's never not going to be funny to me. I'm sorry.
It's about working smarter. The hardest people, the hardest workers you'll ever meet aren't necessarily the people that are getting ahead. So you have to combine those two things. So as I began to put this, all three of these, 1, 2, 3, my life began to transform. And I won't bore you with all the details, but I became an entrepreneur, started a business here, a business there. And next thing you know, my income started to go up. I remember when my income was at basically zero or less than zero. I was going into debt. And there's this old saying, the more you learn, the more you earn. That's maybe a bonus point. Bonus point number 4. It's from Warren Buffett. And I began to buy courses, and I bought this online course. This is a while ago, over 10 years ago. And I bought this course, and I don't remember, it was all the money I had at the time. It was a course from a guy named Corey Rudel. And it was when the internet was starting to get big, and it was
Okay, I have a comment to make about this, but first I want to say welcome to the membership. Mariano just became a member, and to that I will say welcome. In case you didn't know, I just want to offer you this quick reminder.
You can buy status by just like spending money to be around these people and then just being a cool person.
Congratulations on buying status to be around the coolest people on the internet. And welcome to the membership. As per Monica's comment.
Now you are one of us.
One of us. One of us.
Thank you so much for joining. I did want to make a comment here about, now I forget, something. Oh, how he said he bought his first online course. Again, yet another example of something we see in the girl boss business babe coaching industry is this like sort of incestuous isn't the right word. It's like this misleading, I don't even know what I'm looking for. The concept or idea that you need to have a mentor in order to be successful, and that every mega grifter, who I would personally coin allegedly, in my opinion, as a mega grifter, has some mentor or someone they're paying money to. It's like, I don't know anyone that charges people for coaching or courses or whatever who they themselves aren't also investing in coaches and courses and whatever. It's just super interesting to me that he's saying like, oh, the first person I ever invested in. And, you know, how many times have we heard, well, I went to a Tony Robbins seminar and then I bought his coaching. And every person who is at the top of this industry is paying someone else to teach them how to be at the top of the industry. So very, very interesting to me.
This page, I'll never forget it. And the page said, how I made, I think he said, $28,000 laying in my beach chair in Hawaii. And my first thought was to be cynical and go, this guy's lying. But I had learned from my mentors and changing the people that I've been around that you got to be optimistic if you want to win. You can't always look for the dark side, because if you only look for the dark side, sometimes that's all you'll find. And I got really excited and I bought it, and it was like all the money I had. It was like $500 to $1,000. I had made a little bit of money after I had $47 implementing this, and I took that first $500 or $1,000 and I bought a course. And I don't remember everything it said. I had to wait in the mail. It was before you could download videos. And I got this package, and it was a course, and it showed me how to do internet marketing stuff, Google AdWords. And to make a long story short, my income went up in about 6 to 12 months. It went to, I remember I had a pay stub from one company. I was a contractor doing different things, $70,000. And with the other things I was doing, I made about $100,000. And I can't.
Okay, interesting. So Trek says the term I've heard is persuasion. Plant the idea that you need a mentor in the first half of the webinar so that in the second half, they're primed for your close. Interesting. That makes a lot of sense.
I can't tell you how much my life changed. People say money's not important. Well, it's not the most important thing in the world. There's other things more important than money. But if you don't have any money, you'll never feel free. You never have options. I began to have options. I took a little vacation and I traveled and I started investing. I started going up that pyramid.
Guys, I just got back from vacation. Does this mean that I've gone up the pyramid? Me? In the pyramid? Oh my God, I'm honored.
And about 2 years ago, I did this TEDx talk. I've always been an entrepreneur, kind of more behind the scenes, building businesses, but not really putting my face out there. About 2 years ago, I got asked to speak at this TEDx talk.
Does anyone know what this guy's actual background is? Like, I only ever knew him from being in his garage, and he talks about, being poor and then suddenly he's wealthy. So like, where's your actual business experience? I'm very curious. Thank you so much, Amy. Amy donated $5 through Super Chat and said, oh no, I have 11,111 steps for the day thus far. Must be getting rich soon. P.S. This donation is for the Dog Treat Fund only. Thank you so much. To that, Bubba would like to remind you of this.
Either get there or die trying, but damn sure don't be average.
Don't be average, because average is for losers. I don't know what this soundbite is, but we're going to click on it anyway.
And I want nothing from you. It's free. F-R-E-E.
Those dog treats are free. F-R-E-E. For Bubba, not me, because I got to pay for them.
I did the TEDx talk, and it's now it's one of the most viewed TEDx talks of all time.
Okay, I need someone to fact check that. Find this TEDx talk. Is it one of the most viewed TEDx talks of all time? I need to know.
And around that time, I did a little public speaking, and people started asking me, okay, these 3 secrets are great. What else did you learn? And I took a whiteboard at my house, and I started writing out all the principles I learned from mentors, from finding my life's purpose, for figuring out how to motivate myself and not procrastinate. And it turned out to be 300. And I remember thinking, because I have a lot of employees, and I was thinking, I'm going to teach these principles to my employees so they'll be more successful. And I'm also going to talk about these when I do public speaking. But you never have time to share 300 things. So I was a little concerned, like 300 is too much to remember. I couldn't even remember. I had to spend 3 or 4 days sitting in a chair remembering everything I'd learned from mentors and books and so on, and life experience. So luckily, somebody handed me, I forget who it was, a little article, and it said, scientists in London, University College London, just discovered that to change your life, the average person needs 66 days. So I was like, that's interesting. And I told my cousin, maybe we should just...
This comment says, in an article listing the most popular TEDx talks on YouTube, Tai Lopez is ranked number 36 among the top 40.
cut down from 300 to 66, and then just one a day. I'll give my employees and people that I work with 1 tip a day for 66 days. And this scientific report says you can change your life and your habits and how your brain works in 66 days. And my cousin said, no, Ty, 66 sounds like 666, the sign of the number of the devil. So I said, all right, I'll add one more for good luck. So 67. And I took those 300 tips on the board that transformed my life, moved me up the pyramid, and I started recording videos. One simple video, until I got 67. And so many people have asked for it over the years. Now I have a very big social media following. Hundreds of millions of people have seen my stuff. And every day people, literally, I get thousands of emails and direct messages on Insta and Snapchat and all this saying, hey Ty, can you give me some tips? And so I decided to make a program. I said, you know what? I'm just gonna package this all up, make a simple, quick and easy program.
Okay, this is also really funny because this is something so many coaches do, and I used to do this, is like, so many people have been asking me for this, so I packaged it up into a course. Meanwhile, nobody's asking. You just decided you wanted to sell an online course.
That you can access on your phone or your computer, and I'll call it the 67 steps. And so let me share a little bit about the 67 steps and how I think it can change your life. So I created this simple 67 steps program, and last year I released it to
Okay, I would argue that if something has 67 steps, it's not considered simple.
a small group, just like a test group. And it was interesting. Right away, I started getting feedback from people that just amazing results that they were seeing in all areas of their life. You know, health, wealth, love, and happiness. People losing weight, people bank account going up, finding the career of their dreams, finding their life purpose, changing their social life, being happier. And the interesting thing wasn't like the test group was a group of geniuses. I let everyday ordinary people from all over the world use it, from all walks of life, young and old.
I even let low quality people in just to prove that it works. So I'm basically a savant.
And again, consistently, these principles worked for them. I actually hired a scientist, leading PhD and neuroscientist, Dr. Herman Garcia Fresco. He was published in all these top scientific journals. And this is what he said. I wrote it down here, printed it out. Now it works for me. He liked what we created here so much. He said, "This system has a real foundation in science. I did my due diligence. It's rather ingenious. They have analyzed..."
I asked one scientist to look at my steps, and he said it's rooted in science. So it's rooted in science because this one guy said it. Just so you know.
Scientific studies and use the latest cognitive research to develop a methodology that accelerates the success cycle, using the same framework that I have employed in my 20-year career in neuroscience. Although I'm not always comfortable realizing how some people might use these purely for materialistic endeavors, I'm impressed by their use of the scientific method and that they base their techniques on empirical research. I respect the granular detail and unbiased conclusions. I am sure that men and women of all ages and backgrounds who want to build a higher income and, more importantly, a well-rounded life of success would benefit immensely from this practical program. I want you to know that my team and I have created something really special for you. You can start learning in minutes from the comfort and privacy of your own home. All you really need is a phone or a laptop.
This is like the worst pitch I've ever seen. Nothing about this feels convincing to me. Like the really bad writing on a giant Post-it note, not doing it for me. The fact that he hasn't really given me anything actionable, not doing it for me. Nothing about this makes me want to buy.
Laptop. You just watch the video training and you'll be all set. So there's no confusing exercises or
like I'm still unsure about what the outcome. What am I going to get from this? I'm going to get to the top of the pyramid, right? Is that right?
mindless repetition. The 67-step concepts will be hardwired into your brain, and you'll be ready to use them before your next, bills are due. No matter how much or how little money you have now, how old you are, what you've tried before. Just try being part of this members-only group at any stage you might be in life, and you'll see how powerful it really is, and you can see for yourself. You can use it to quit your dead-end job. You can use it to get a promotion, where you already are. Or you can finally turn that good idea that's been in the back of your mind for years into an actual real thing.
This is a one-size-fits-all solution that will solve any problem you've ever had in your entire life. You have a problem? I will fix it. Bye, Bubba. See you later. Have a good day. He wouldn't stop crying, so I asked Pablo to come take him away. Poor guy is suffering very much being in this room. It's hard having a job. I get it.
That's one of the big things that happened in my life, being able to take ideas and make them reality. And since this program does not require you to invest your whole life savings, you don't have to put your hard-earned money at risk, okay? So this makes it perfect for you if you're just starting out and you don't have a lot of money.
Yeah, guys, I'm not a scammer because I'm not going to make you pay me too much money, just like a little bit of money. So therefore, it's not a scam.
You can use it alone. You can try it together with a boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, best friend. You know, you'll find when you can make money and become successful at anything you're interested in, you're going to be shocked at how passionate you become, how your life feels reignited. That's one of the things I was talking about with motivation in tip number 3. And this 67 steps system works like crazy for people with big dreams and also for people who are just giving up hope.
Again, why is this a solution for every single person? It's good for you if you're a loser. It's good for you if you're a winner. It's good if you're broke and sad, and it's good if you're rich and happy. This program will change absolutely everyone's life.
I was exhausted being a loser. Now I'm exhausted being a winner.
You know what? And you're going to be exhausted either way. So you might as well just give me your money.
Because these concepts are based on proven real world techniques. So I don't want you to think this is just some book knowledge. I love books, but you're also going to learn real stuff. And you'll see it's going to compel the universe to give you what you deserve.
Exactly. Mariano says, literally pitching the most flexible one-size-fits-all plan that solves everything without saying it. I still don't even understand what the outcome is. What am I paying you for other than 67 steps? 67 steps to what? To make it to the top of the pyramid? I'm confused.
You're going to use it to stand out from all the other people who live a status quo life, who struggle their whole life. You're going to have an unfair advantage. You're going to end up living the dream that everyone else fantasizes about. I always say, do what others won't, so you'll live the life that others want. And that's what this program is really about. Your friends are going to be jealous, but they'll give you respect. You know, the stress of laying awake all night worrying about bills, that starts to go away and you start to get breakthroughs. Let me read you a couple other things. I've got here written just some testimonials that people have written in.
Oh no. Okay, I'm going to click to the actual video so we can see. Oh, okay, this video is an hour and a half long. I think we're done. I think we get the gist of where he's going with this. I really just wanted to watch this to provide those of you with a little bit of context who maybe aren't familiar with this guy, how he ended up in the situation we're going to talk about today. And I realize we're like an hour in and we haven't even gotten to that. So let's just continue quickly and see how much he's charging for these 67 steps. Everybody wants the good life, but not everybody gets the good life. The more you learn, the more you earn. It's like every cliche possible. Okay, click to claim your spot. You must agree to these rules before claiming your spot in the 67 steps. To get access to the 67 steps, you must agree. To gain financial independence and beyond, you must deserve it. You won't be driving your own Lamborghini overnight, but you can gain the skills to buy your own a lot sooner than you think. 2, to live a life full of passion and excitement, you must be consistent. The University College London says that forming a new habit takes at least 66 days. Tai chose 67 steps because it's a proven framework that you will need to begin rewiring your brain to gain new levels of success. Number 3, to achieve the levels of success that all your friends and family will envy, you must always invest in yourself. Warren Buffett, the world's greatest investor, said, "The more you learn, the more you earn." I also don't think Warren Buffett is selling an online course, but maybe I'm wrong. Okay, let's see. How much money is this gonna cost me? Only $1 a day. Wow, that's so generous. $67. I want to shave years off the painful learning curve to find the good life and accelerate my goals. I will get instant access to the program through this private webinar. This website looks like a scam. Like, this looks like you copied and pasted the Visa and MasterCard logo. Like, have you never heard of Thrivecart? One-time fee, you could use it. You know, just a suggestion. Like this, I would not put my credit card information in here. This looks fake. And maybe it was. We're going to get into that. Yeah, steps don't seem to have a timeline. 2 different things. I'm very confused. This comment says, you guys never got to the final 3 steps. I got access because I was a top student in the 67 steps. Well, haters gonna hate. Like Tai says, my friends are gonna be jealous, but you'll all respect me. Can we watch the last 5 minutes? Sure. Let's just skip past. So he's reading testimonials. Like, I don't know. I can't believe he talks for this long. What else is he going to say? I thought he already got to the point.
Exist anywhere. There's self-help books and seminars, but most of them use a technique that's pretty ineffective. You see, reading a book or attending a seminar rarely creates massive improvements. There's a better way. You have to change how you think.
Okay. So keep in mind the ad that we clicked on that got us to this video was talking about how he read a book a day. He had 7 bookshelves full of books. And now he's saying reading books, no good. Buy my course. Are you listening to yourself?
It's to go into your subconscious. Okay, this is more than a book or seminar. It's an integrated program using cutting-edge scientific principles.
And remember, it's scientific because one scientist read it and said it was scientific.
Proven to work time and time again. It's the difference between someone just telling you how to build a house or someone working alongside you, helping you build it step by step. The system works for poor people, average people, old people, young people, all races, male, female. I've seen it work for super smart people and average IQ too.
I've seen it work for little dumb idiots, so it'll definitely work for you.
Books and seminars are great supplements, but what you're about to get is on a whole nother level. Next, what if I don't want to be a super rich millionaire? I just want to have enough. And I say, look, hats off to you. Everyone has a different destiny. Not everyone wants to be a millionaire or a billionaire. But let me put it to you this way. If I wanted to get good at basketball, wouldn't you want to learn from the best? Even if you just want to play basketball for fun, wouldn't it be great to learn from Michael Jordan?
Are you saying you're the Michael Jordan of making money? Is that what he's saying?
In the same way, even if you don't want to make $1 million, you still want to learn the cutting edge techniques that millionaires are using. The principles of wealth and success you're going to learn are good for you whether you want to just make an extra $50 a month, $500, 50,000, whatever. It's the same principles. Somebody said recently to me, Tai, isn't getting rich just all luck anyway? And I get this asked a lot to me. It's now a widespread belief, sometimes because people don't want to face the truth. But the answer is yes and no. Each of us, if you were born healthy, you've won the lottery in life. You had no control over it. There's some some luck there. But there's a great book where these researchers, it's called, I forget the name of the book, but they said they thought maybe the average billionaire was lucky. But what they found was they were able to create success over and over again, which means it wasn't luck, it was a system. My grandpa used to say, once is luck, twice is skill. And most successful people are able to do it over and over. Look at Richard Branson or Elon Musk. He started PayPal, then he started Tesla, multiple companies. So if it was just all luck.
Elon Musk didn't start Tesla. That's a common misconception.
It would be like flipping a coin. Sometimes they'll be successful and sometimes they're not. It's probably not that. It's that they know things that you and I didn't get taught when we're growing up. So it's been true in my life. The luckiest thing.
It's right. It's the people are rich because they know that they have the elite have a secret that all of us plebs are not privy to. And that's why they are elite and we are just losers. Is because we don't know the secrets. But if you buy my course, I will teach you the secrets.
About my life, being born healthy, is somebody reaching out and offering me the same things I'm offering you now. I want to let you in on the luck. Just finding this video today is good luck for you. What separates average people from amazing people is what they do with the luck they're handed. Do you procrastinate? Do you say, well...
Yeah, you guys are welcome. I am your luck. So I handed you this video, which is very lucky for you.
I don't have time to do this. I'll do it later. Don't be that person.
Okay.
The American dream is to go from nothing to something.
Blah, blah,
Some people in the
blah.
media, I read articles. 7 Steps program is the most powerful tool I can give you to get started. So click the button below and you'll see.
Okay, buy my course, blah, 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 blah. I can't stand this guy. The quick answer about luck is yes. Yeah, I think that this is something that my partner and I discuss a lot because we're both in the entrepreneurial space. And it's this idea of people not wanting to give credit to the fact that luck has a huge part of a huge role in whether or not you're successful. So obviously we want to be able to take credit for our hard work and say, I built this thing. I did it on my own. I blah, 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 blah. When the reality is for the majority of people, many are successful as a result of happening to be in the right place at the right time, leveraging the right systems at an opportune time. And that can be attributed a lot to luck. But obviously it's like less personally satisfying to admit that like I'm successful because I was lucky. It's much more appealing to be able to take full credit for your success. So I get why people do it, but I totally agree that luck is like a large majority. Yes, there is skill required and effort and consistency and all of those things, but I think luck has a lot more to do with it than people care to admit. Okay. I am going to get into what I actually wanted to talk about today now that we're an hour and 10 minutes in. If you are watching and you're having a good time, please consider giving the stream a thumbs up. And if you hate it here, you can thumbs it down. That's okay too. Suzanne's asking, who wants to do 67 steps? Most people don't want to do 5 steps. Also, have we not learned anything that there is no system? There is not a replicatable, duplicatable system that I can say, these are the 67 steps I took and now I'm rich. And then you do it and you'll also be rich. Like, that's not how the world works because we're all in different situations. Ugh. Trek says, also leveraging relationships. You can sort of influence luck, but the deeply unsatisfying part is the really difficult attribute. It's really difficult to attribute how much success to it. 100%. Okay, so the reason why I have gathered you all here today to talk about this guy is because he is being sued by the SEC. So I have the actual, I don't know what you would call this. What is the word for this? The actual complaint from the SEC, which like we can read through it. It's kind of boring. And then there's also an article that we can read. So basically he is being sued for allegedly essentially like funneling $112 million from various investors under the guise that he was going to like save all these defunct companies. My understanding is that he approached these businesses that were failing and basically told them, I will buy you and turn you into an e-commerce business. You will be successful again. And then he funneled the money into God knows what, probably buying Lamborghinis. The Autism Mom Coach says, my former employer, do tell. Please tell us more. We are on the edge of our seats and we want to know what is up. Okay. Okay, so Rev is the business, I believe, that he was operating under. Retail e-commerce ventures operated by Tai Lopez, as well as these 2 other people, Alexander Mayer and Maya Birkenrode. I don't know who those 2 other people are. If they're influencers, let me know. We can look at their YouTube channels too. But essentially it says, Rev's primary business was purchasing distressed retail companies with brand name recognition and converting them into e-commerce only businesses. So any of you who live in North America may be familiar with the company Radio Shack. I know we had them here in Canada. They're basically kind of like a smaller version of Best Buy, I guess I would say. They sold like cell phones and radios and DVD players and like all sorts of electronic sort of things. But they had like storefronts in malls and you could go in and like shop the different electronics. And basically as e-commerce started to take off, they failed to keep up and they all like went out of business. In Canada, they mostly got bought up by a company called The Source. But I think The Source also went out of business. So I guess he bought them saying that he would help them convert into e-commerce. Okay, you used to work for the SEC. Okay, never mind. Right, you're a lawyer. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, Monica says he was giving older investors the money from new investors. Yes, okay, I do recall reading that. So the securities offerings at issue involved offerings by Rev, the company, and 8 Rev portfolio companies. So I guess this company had sub companies that they had purchased. So that included Pier 1, Radio Shack, et cetera, et cetera. During the relevant period, defendants sold securities in the form of unsecured notes promising up to 25% annual returns, as well as equity with a monthly preferred dividend as high as 2%. The purported purpose of these offerings was to raise capital to acquire the predecessors to each particular Rev retailer brand and to raise additional operating capital for said Rev retailer brand. So they're telling investors that this is what the return is going to be on your investment if you give us your money. And then it's been alleged that none of these investors actually got their money back. So where did the money go? I guess we'll find out in the what is to follow. He bought the brand. Did he buy any other assets? That is a great question, and I am not sure. Let's go ahead and read this article. So this is from CFO.com. It says, investors fall victim to alleged $112 million retail Ponzi scheme trial balance. An investor group that once owned Radio Shack and other distressed retail brands is at the center of the allegations. Part 1. Major retailers tied to a $100 million plus Ponzi scheme, SEC says. The founders of Retail E-commerce Ventures, the company that acquired the rights to legacy retail brands like Radio Shack, Dress Barn, Models, Sporting Goods, and Pier 1 Imports, have been charged with orchestrating a $112 million Ponzi scheme, according to a complaint filed by the Securities and Exchange Commission in the Southern District of Florida on September 23rd. The feds allege that social media influencer Tai Lopez and technology entrepreneur Alex Mayer, who are both co-founders of Rev, along with Chief Operating Officer Maya Birkenrode, raised the money from hundreds of investors between April 2020 and November 2022 through fraudulent security offerings tied to 8 distressed retail brands that Rev had acquired. E-commerce software platform Brahms and retailers Dress Barn, Franklin Mint, Linens and Things, and Models were acquired in 2020. So Rev purchased these businesses in 2020, followed by Pier Imports, Radio Shack, and Steinmart being bought between 2021 and 22. Unicomer Group acquired Radio Shack in 2023 and relaunched it as an e-commerce platform. So I'm guessing that means they also bought the assets, because how else would you launch the e-commerce platform without that? But I don't know that to be completely true. Radio Shack's current owners are not named in the lawsuit and have no ties to Lopez, Mayer, or Rev. Allegedly, investors were offered unsecured notes with annualized returns of up to 25% and equity stakes with monthly dividends over 2%. They were told their money would be invested in a specific company and backed by the performance of that entity. Rev pitched investors on an aggressive turnaround strategy. After acquiring bankrupt retail brands with widespread name recognition, the company converted them into online-only businesses and promised high returns to investors. As Rev said, the company it was acquiring generated strong cash flow. So my guess is, and again, we would have to read through this whole thing, I'm wondering if they forged financial documents to show that these brands and companies were making more money than they actually were. Because I mean, like, investors are pretty careful with who they'll give money to, and they want proof before they hand over the money. So it seems kind of suspicious to me that they would even be able to convince this many people to give them money without forging some kind of documentation to convince them that it was a good investment. The SEC says in reality, none of the portfolio companies were profitable. Yeah, so that's what I'm wondering. To keep up the appearance of success, okay, I should have just kept reading. The defendants allegedly paid existing investors using new investor funds, merchant cash advances, outside loans, and intercompany transfers. At least $5.9 million in investor returns were funded in this Ponzi-like fashion, according to the complaint. So for those of you that aren't familiar with how Ponzi schemes work, it's basically this. I tell you, I have, this great investment opportunity. You give me money to join. So let's say I get Harrison to give me $100 to join my Ponzi scheme. And then I go to Suzanne and I say, if you invest, I have this great investment opportunity for you. You're going to get a huge return. You pay me $200. I take that $200 that I got from Suzanne. I maybe keep $50. I give Harrison back $150. So now he's making money from this scheme. So then now Suzanne's out $200. I got to recruit Monica to come in with us for $300. Now I'm going to take my $50. I'm going to give Suzanne maybe, $225, and I'm going to give Harrison $25 extra. So he's getting a return because this thing is so successful. And essentially you just keep endlessly recruiting people, in this case, investors, into the scheme so that the original investors are getting a return on their investment. But at the end of the day, there's going to be someone at the bottom that's just like losing all that money. So they're selling you on this idea of this great successful business idea, but there is no great successful business idea. So you have to keep finding more investors to keep paying off the other investors that already paid you. Very, very messy, very stressful kind of situation to build for yourself, honestly. Let's see. I'm just catching up on the comments. Lisa's saying, maybe I just re-listened to the Theranos Homes scandal. She refused to show any financials. Very true. Although I would say VC funding is a little bit different than like this type of investment from my understanding. Because when you're going to raise venture capital, you're literally pulling all of those numbers out of thin air. Like I could say, oh, my company's valued at $10 million, even though we've made zero. It's just based on like fake shares that I've issued to the founders. So I would say with like the Theranos home scandal, which is a whole thing in itself, that's a little bit different because you don't actually have a business. You just have like the concept of a business. But VC funding is like crazy to think how they even come up with those valuations. Yeah, Rodney says, did Tai Lopez read a book on Bernie Madoff? Maybe he didn't finish it. I think you might be onto something. Kamikaze says, I heard he faked dividend payments and then just stopped paying them one day. That could be it. Let's continue. Internal financial statements show that Dress Barn lost $13.7 million in 2020 and $10.7 million in 2021, while Steinmart posted net losses of $1.7 million and $5.7 million over the same period. Yet in investor communications, Lopez described the brands as on fire with a strong cash flow. Oh my God, this is the same thing we see in coaching, guys. So many businesses, it's been alleged to me, so many of these business coaches that are on their podcast saying, I've made millions of dollars, my business is set to do X millions of dollars this year, are then turning around on their own coaching calls, some of which I've seen with my own eyes, and are crying about the fact that their business isn't making any money, that they aren't going to hit their revenue targets for the year, that they're not making as much money as they made in previous years. And so it's very, very interesting to me to see the same parallels happening in this particular lawsuit, because please, dear God, can we have this happen to some of these big name celebrity coaches? I would love to see that. In investor communications, he described it as on fire. Investors were assured that the company had never missed a payment. According to the SEC, those claims were false as early as 2022, when complaints began surfacing about missing interest payments. Interesting. The defendants also misrepresented the credentials of their leadership team. Rev's website claimed Birkenrode had over a decade of experience managing multi-million-dollar companies. In reality, her background included working as a preschool substitute teacher, a radio promoter, and an assistant to Lopez at a previous venture. Okay, so maybe Tai Lopez's multi-million-dollar company, she was like the executive assistant there, so then they're using that as her experience managing companies. That's crazy. I got to look these people up after we're done here. One thing that jumps out in the SEC complaint is who's not there, a CFO. There's no mention of anyone in finance leadership, in a finance leadership role, or its portfolio companies. Instead, the founders and Birkenrode handled the money themselves, deciding how to move cash between entities and which investors got paid. Red fucking flag. Holy crap. Can you imagine running not even just a single business? It would be enough to run one single corporation without an accountant. But to run a corporation that is essentially a head for multiple other corporations, you have sub businesses under your main business, and not having a CFO, a CPA, some sort of financial expert managing your finances, like that in itself is a huge red flag for this guy to be like, oh, I'll just manage it myself, no problem. Like, this is crazy. Oh my God. She was super qualified. 1000%. What could possibly go wrong? Your guess is as good as mine. Anyone working in corporate finance knows that's a glaring red flag. Okay, thank you. In any complex M&A business model like Rev's, a CFO is usually the guardrail on reporting and capital flows. Without that role, Rev's financial power likely sat with a tight inner circle of the 3 people that were running the company, making it easier for misleading claims to be accepted as fact and harder for tough questions to be asked. Here is that was last week. This is what's happened this week. Article was published last week. Here's a list of important market events slated for the next week ahead. Okay, so this was published once the thing happened, but we don't know what's happened since. Speeches from the Federal Reserve. Okay, so it's just like kind of a list of things that are going to be coming out. And I guess that's that for the update. Let me just switch things around for a second here. I am just going to look up these 2 other clowns. Okay, she's privated her Instagram. Okay, interesting. So it's ex-employees that apparently were the whistleblowers. This is from the New York Post, so keep that in mind, you know. Credible source? Probably not. I don't know, to be honest. Ex-employees at Radio Shack Pier 1 Imports blew the whistle on the owner's Ponzi scheme. A pair of flashy e-commerce entrepreneurs who bought bankrupt retailers like Pier 1 Imports, Radio Shack, Model Sporting Goods were accused by the feds of running a Ponzi scheme, and the clampdown came after ex-employees blew the whistle on them. The duo bilked hundreds of investors out of $112 million through Miami-based Rev, according to a U.S. Security Exchange lawsuit. What the lawsuit didn't mention is that a group of their former employees had reached out to the SEC in 2023, raising concerns. This is what we need to have happen in the coaching industry. I need someone who's worked for one of these coaches to blow the whistle. I'll back you up. We have been trying to get someone to expose Tai Lopez and his gang of fraudsters for a long time, one of the former employees told the Post. Another former executive who resigned after a short stint with Rev said, I felt I'd be compromising myself by continuing to work there. It's possible that I witnessed something illegal. I've never worked for a company promising to pay investors 20% and chartering jets and flying all over the country. So this here is a photo of the two standing in front of and on the steps of a private jet. Red flag. Red flag. In their heyday, Lopez and Mayer showed off their wealth and boasted about their financial savvy before the retail empire began to unravel in 2023. Mayer, an Iranian-born immigrant who worked in risk and safety management of NASA's space exploration missions, teamed up with Lopez at the height of the retail carnage in 2019. Lopez has a massive social media following and frequently offers financial and self-help advice to his followers. The duo allegedly misappropriated $16 million in investor funds for their personal use, according to the complaint. So there's $112 million that they've, shuffled around, taking from this investor to that investor, Ponzi scheme kind of stuff. 16 million of which they used for their own personal use. Again, red flag that they didn't have a CFO, because this never would have happened if they did. Rev began acquiring bankrupt brands in 2020, blah, 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 but their rapid expansion left them saddled with debt and little cash flow. What's more, they began raising capital from individual investors on twice-weekly Zoom calls, promising them outsized returns, even as their portfolio companies racked up net losses from almost $4 million to $12 million per month. I'm not surprised at all about what has taken place, says Mitchell Modell, whose century-old family sports apparel chain was acquired by Rev out of bankruptcy for $3.6 million in 2020. Modell called Lopez right after the acquisition to offer him advice about the company's vendors. I got the impression that I was bothering him. Lopez hired his cousin. Okay, so this woman is his cousin, to be the company's president and chief operating officer, touting her 10 years of experience managing multi-million-dollar companies. Birkenrode's only professional experience was as a substitute preschool teacher, a promoter at a radio station, and as an assistant to her cousin Tai Lopez in his online education company. The SEC is not seeking jail time, but asks the courts to order the defendants to return their ill-gotten gains and pay a penalty. Rev filed for Chapter 11 in 2023 and was about to liquidate when one of its largest investors, Raj Gupta, acquired the company and renamed it Omni Media Enterprise in May 2024. Earlier this year, Gupta tried to entice Modell to purchase his namesake company back for $1 million. And Modell showed the Post sharing images of their text exchanges. He offered $500,000 instead, and they couldn't reach a deal. I will sell the brand through a bank or just license it out. Lopez, Mayer, Gupta, and Birken Board, did not immediately respond to requests for comments. Okay. So there's that. I want to show you, I believe it's on YouTube. Tai uploaded a video after all of this came out, and it was really fucking weird. So we'll see if we can find it. Yeah, this is from 12 days ago. So all of this happened on September 23rd. So 12 days ago would that be 12? I guess if I click on it, it'll tell me. So the caption, I'll share my screen again. The video says, why they can't control you if you do this. And it says can't control you. So
remember,
weird vibes. It was published September 24th. So he got served, I'm guessing. The lawsuit was filed on September 23rd, I believe. Yeah, September 23rd, 2025. And then this was published the following day. Let me just say that his hair looks awful.
they can't control you if you read the right books and inform yourself. And make no mistake, we live in a world where you're trying to be controlled, both maliciously by people and indirectly. There's groups of people that are trying to control you that don't necessarily wake up in the morning and say they want to ruin your life, but the structure of the system is built to control you.
So, 24 seconds in, sounds as though we are alleging that it's the government's problem. The government's trying to control me, and that's why I'm in trouble. Not because I did something illegal. It's the government. I love it. I'm here for this.
Used to not be that way. Look at the American ideal dream. The original American dream was a group of people who didn't want to be controlled by the religious leaders in Europe and the UK. So they came to the US and they forged their own path. That was supposed to be the American dream. Slowly but surely, over time, what Americans or what the original settlers ran away from is now taking place in the United States in the last 10, 20 years. The solution, and I'll give you 3 ways that I think you can know what.
Okay, I know we clicked out of the other video early, but he was going on in that sales pitch from 8 years ago about the American dream, and I can help you achieve the American dream if you just buy my online course. And now he's saying, oh, we don't actually want the American dream. It's like, don't trust it. Funny how we just pick whatever narrative suits, you know, our current reality. I love that for him.
It's true, because this really comes down to what is true and what isn't. There's a whole science of this called epistemology. How do you know that you know something? So here's the 3 practical ways that I've found to know what's true. Number 1, and this doesn't always work, but look at what's called citations. Now we live in a world where there's Instagram memes and TikTok and all this on supposed scientific data. Okay?
Can I also say, like, okay, so we just read this lawsuit where he's saying, or they're saying they never had a CFO. Well, it feels to me that he also has never had a lawyer, because I'm pretty sure if I was getting sued by the SEC, my lawyer would advise me not to go and post a 14-minute long YouTube video about how the government is trying to control us. But what do I know?
Supposed scientific data. Look how many citations there are. That means other smart people pointing back to that piece of scientific quote-unquote truth. What happened during 2020, 2021 was there was a lot of science put out that didn't have that much citations. There wasn't enough time. There are certain things that have a lot of citations. For example, Francis and Crick, the kind of modern founders of understanding DNA. I think they have a paper with 20,000 citations. 20,000 other supposed experts. Remember, there's a lot of people that say they're experts that aren't, but
oh my God. Guys, there's a lot of people out there that say that they're experts when they're not. But let me just remind you that I created a 67-step system, and I got one guy with a PhD to certify that it was scientific. So just trust me, guys. Everyone else in the world, liars, not very well researched. They say they know things they don't know, but I know exactly what I'm saying. So take my word for it.
20,000 people who had some level of expertise pointed back to their article. That's a higher probability of being true, of being right. So therefore, I'm going to pay more attention. Doesn't guarantee it, but I'm going to read that paper. I'm going to read Albert Einstein, the general theory of relativity. It actually is used. That's why GPS is so good now. They use the curvature and the warping of time and space so that when you go on Google Maps, you find the exact location that you're at to 1 meter. It used to not be that way. But there's a paper, one of Einstein's papers, has, 10, 20,000 citations. A lot of stuff I see on social media that people are holding out to be true, they have like 5 citations. You can Google it. Take a screenshot of the image that you're looking at and put it in ChatGPT and say, do a deep search and find how many citations there are. Now, just to be clear, even then, it's not a foolproof way to inform yourself. Number 2, I call this the Charlie Munger way of finding truth. The wise billionaire Charlie Munger. He said, you should not be allowed to hold a point of view until you can argue the other side better than they can. So if you look at things that have come up recently, Charlie Kirk, this is a big thing in the news. I did a long video on, I think it's a tragedy. Nothing bad ever came out of open debates, and that's what he was doing. I don't see people on the extreme left doing open debates. Anyway, so number 2, this is the Charlie Munger / Charlie Kirk kind of approach. You should not be able to hold a belief until you can argue both sides. So no matter how firm you are in a conviction, try to take a second and learn enough about the other side to inform. Like, for example.
So I'm being sued. And before you try to jump to any conclusions, I just want you to consider why I did what I did. I want you to argue it from my perspective, because I'm actually the victim here, and the government is trying to make it seem like the investors are the victim in this situation. But guys, it was me. So I need you to just, you're seeing all this stuff in the news about me. don't just like take it and read it and consider it as truth. Instead, I really need you to think about me and where I'm coming from. Okay? Thank you. Amy donated $5 through Super Chat and says, just spent on an IG, a YouTube link posted 3 days ago. This guy was sued for, yes, that's what we're looking at. Hello, Amy, are you listening? He has been sued for $112 million from the SEC. And he's making this video to try and convince us that we're the problem. And it's not him. And to that, I just have to say this.
You have cantankerous things in your life happen.
When you have cantankerous things happen in your life, such as an SEC lawsuit, all you have to do is remember this one thing.
Have you really got that you are God?
Just remember that you are God. And you can just mindset your way out of this problem.
I'm not a communist, but I've read Karl Marx and I try to understand, okay, hypothetically, if I was a communist, how would I argue that communism makes the world a better place? And by doing that, you can become more firm in your convictions because you can be like, and you got to do it for real, objectively. You can't just half-ass it. But if you really go deep down that route for a week, you become better informed on your own side. You become wiser, more prudent, more balanced in your approach. We need this in the world now where people will take a moment and try to argue. It doesn't mean you're switching sides. By the way, to make money.
Yeah, also both sides, but believe his side. I just really need the SEC to watch my YouTube video so that they believe me and they drop the lawsuit because, like, I don't have $112 million to pay back to anybody.
This helps you a lot. You've got a certain business model you want to roll out. Try to argue the other side of the argument. Okay, the third thing that I think is super important is have a good book list. Now, I have a list. I don't make any money off, or if I do, or maybe I make a penny if you buy a book from clicking off my book list. But for more than 10 years, I've had one of the top book lists. So tailopez.com/books. I put 100 books on health, wealth, love, happiness that I think everyone should read. I think they are sources of truth. I don't necessarily think they're books that are omnipotent, but they will make you think. So whether you use my list, and by the way, you can just...
I kind of want to go there. I want to see what these books are all about. tailopez.com/books. Okay, let's see. We got, a pop-up. Free access to the 4 pillars of a good life. I'll save that for another day for sure. Managing oneself, evolutionary psychology, Stephen Hawking, brief answer to the big questions, civilization. Okay, these are just like, I feel like if I Googled, top 20 books everyone should read, half these books would be on that list. This is just, and it's all Amazon links. So don't act like you don't get a commission. Oh, I might get a couple cents. Like you would know. If you have an Amazon storefront, you remember signing up for it. I'm sorry. I can't take this guy seriously.
Just buy the books without clicking the links and I make no money. So I was never paid to have somebody's book placed on there, just to be clear. And you may see books on there that are antithetical, anti your current worldview. Read them anyway. It's very hard to control people who read. And by the way, audiobooks are as good as real books, books you read. Don't delineate between the two. So if you have a tough time reading, go ahead and do audiobooks. And you should split it up. I do Monday health books on my physical health. I do Tuesday, not get hit here. Tuesday, I do books on wealth and business, making money. Thursday, I do books on, Wednesday, I do books on psychology, love, friendships, the human dynamic. And then Thursday, I try to do.
Where is he? I want to go back to try and read the street signs. Like, is he in Europe? He kind of looks like he must be somewhere in Europe because, I don't think the U.S. has bike lanes like this. Is he in, the Netherlands or something?
Health books on my physical health. I do Tuesday, not get hit here.
Someone in the chat, what language is that? Is he in the Netherlands?
Tuesday, I do books on wealth and business.
Is he hiding from the U.S. government? That's what I'm trying to figure out here.
Money. Thursday, I do books on, Wednesday,
I do books on psychology, love, friendships, the human dynamic. And then Thursday, I try to do happiness books on the science of happiness. So you can find all those on tailopez.com/books. By the way, if you're a top entrepreneur, you're out here making money, then what I just said is 10 times more true. You need to be reading, 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. You need to be reading the Almanac of Naval Ravikant, Charlie Munger's books. And you should be reading the shareholder letters from Warren Buffett. This is the game, ladies and gentlemen. This is the game. So if you're an entrepreneur, by the way, and you realize having sharp people around you, the ancient proverb is make war with a multitude of counselors. If you realize that you need that, I tell people, if you want to go beyond 10 million a year in sales, you need smart, informed people around you. I have a private client program. I'll throw in a shameless plug for it here. I want to give you a lot of free value, but I'll throw this in at the end. Joel Salatin said, never justify yourself for selling. Always be selling, as long as you have something of value. So I have my private client program. If you're already doing 10 million or you're close to doing 10 million in sales a year, and you want me on your advisory board, or you want me as a mentor, sharing what I've learned as, one of the top on.
He's turning this into a pitch? Does this guy have no quit? No quit. You're telling me you get sued by the government and you turn it into an opportunity to pitch your mentorship. What the actual hell is happening?
Online social media guy. Some people call me the OG of monetizing kind of social media in the business space. I don't know if that's true, but I'm one of the originals. I've seen what works, what doesn't. Built my first funnel in 2001. I'm going to put a phone number. You can iMessage or WhatsApp me. Just text me the word private, which is for my private client program, and just give a couple sentences on what you're doing, what your revenue is. I can help you with paid ads.
Okay, I'm going to text this number. Give me a sec. I am so wealthy and I really want your help. 786-730-8374. Hello. I am a multiple 7-fig entrepreneur looking for mentorship to scale my online Facebook ads. Can you help? Stay tuned.
Super important.
Oh, I'm supposed to text him the word private. Oops. Here I am spilling my life story for nothing.
And then, of course, I can help you with social media virality, building your personal brand, making your products go viral. These are the two things that separate businesses now. It's not just business skill. It's, number one, do you have wise mentors, advisors, making war with a multitude of counselors? Number two, do you have, do you really have...
Exactly. Basically, I'm a fraud, but live, laugh, love. I'm just confused about who would watch this and buy this. Like a quick Google search will tell you everything you need to know. Guys, this is why I'm always saying, if you, for whatever reason, feel that you need to invest in a mentor to be successful in your business, before you do, please search their name on Google and add the word Reddit and read everything you need to know before you give them your money, because a quick Google search of Tai Lopez Reddit, I'm sure will yield you all of the results you need to know about this guy. This is crazy.
Paid ads dialed in. That's predictable lead flow, predictable sales, predictable profits from. And then, of course, do you have personal brand and social media, which is essentially free revenue, free sales? Because if you go viral, you ain't having to pay for it, or at least not paying like paid ads. So going through a little tunnel here in Europe. If that's you, just text me the word private. I keep two phones with me, so I have an iMessage. You can iMessage or WhatsApp me. I see them in my right.
Okay, he said has iMessage, but when I texted it, it went through as a text message, not an iMessage. So,
hand man, one of us will reach out and we can schedule time to talk for 10 minutes. And by the way, also, if you just want to do a 15-minute call with me, I do one or two of those a day. I open up slots. I like talking to people. People say, why do you sell 15-minute calls? Keeps me sharp. I talk to sharp entrepreneurs. I keep my finger on the pulse of what's making money all the time.
I'm sorry, I can't get over how bad his hair looks. I don't usually comment on people's appearance, but there's just like something about the chaotic energy of this whole video that is just like, what is happening?
Every day I have at least 1 to 2 calls. I don't do a lot of it because it take up, I don't like selling my time.
I didn't realize I was frozen. Hold on a sec. I'm just like over here laughing to myself in private. We're back, baby.
For money, but I don't mind doing it, one or two. So you text private, we can start with a 15-minute call. I charge a little bit of money. No, it's not very expensive. And then I have my full-on private client program. But let's just talk on iMessage or what.
This is so chaotic. Oh, I do 10-minute calls. Oh, actually, I do 15-minute calls. I do charge a little bit of money. It's not a ton of money, though. But you just text me.
I'll put my number right here.
Yeah, he is desperate.
I'm headed to the gym. And there's all kinds of things, by the way, in my private client program. We talk about, daily routine. Should you have a prenup? What country should you live in? Should you have build your personal brand?
Should you have a prenup? I believe that's a question I would be asking my lawyer or my accountant, not some random guy who's being sued by the government for financial advice on, but thank you.
Hire and fire, how to scale. I've done a lot in my day, and so I can help you skip the learning curve. By the way, I didn't add that, but that's really the fourth thing on
Okay, what does that mean? There is likely a parallel criminal action being pursued. What does that mean? Please explain for us, like I'm 5 years old.
Forming yourself, get a whole bunch of smart people, knowing your personal situation and adding value. I tell you, I don't even know if I lived in a world where I could make $100 billion completely solo, or I could.
Okay, iCat is saying it seems like he is in Denmark. Thank you for your investigative skills. I appreciate that. Now, are there some kind of safe haven? Is there a safe haven in Denmark? Can the U.S. government arrest me if I try to find refuge in Denmark? Somebody let me know.
Could make $50 million net worth with a group of smart people, like a cabinet. I like that approach. I know it's not for everybody. Some people became entrepreneurs just because they want to be completely, the solo genius. I enjoy it. PayPal, the PayPal mafia was what Elon Musk built, 23 smart guys. They all became billionaires. They all started out, not billionaires. And I think every one of them ended up billionaires. And when you look at that group of people, it's really interesting because there was a camaraderie there. And I think entrepreneurs, that's why in my private client, we also do 4 meetups a year because I just did one on my farm. Hudson was there. Part of the downside of informing yourself too much with just books and podcasts and YouTubes, the downside of getting all your sources of truth that way are that you essentially get lonely. And
how dare you speak ill of getting your information from podcasts? Did you not hear this one very important piece of information?
A podcast is the greatest education you can get.
A podcast is the greatest education you can get. So I don't need your mentorship when I have infinite numbers of podcasts I could be listening to.
And you also miss out on there's a great book. It's on my list on Tai Lopez Content books by Stephen Johnson, where good ideas come from. There's actually a mathematical formula for how great ideas spawn. They're born depending on how many other humans you connect to. That's really where the rise of cities came from. 10,000 generations ago or more. Your ancestors lived very rural. One of the things that changed is cities began to be formed. And those cities had downsides, increases in diseases, increases in crime. Cities have lower trust than small villages. But one of the upsides is this mathematical formula, the virality and spreading of great ideas when people are in proximity. So when you isolate yourself, you're missing out on this mathematical formula. So the word networking is actually the right word. It's like a web effect. Some people call it the 6 degrees of separation. You as an entrepreneur, you have the best chance of maximizing your net worth if you're weaved into a web.
Okay, this is what the Gen Z call crashing out. He is 100% crashing out right now. I'm just saying it. That's not just my opinion. That is a objective fact that anyone could come into by watching this video. What is happening?
Of other smart mofos, your own PayPal mafia. It's one of the most viral videos I have. If I help you with personal brand, I'll talk about how you build your viral 100 Hall of Fame. I've got my 100 most viral, TikTok clips and Instagram shorts. And essentially one of mine that goes most viral.
TikTok clips and Instagram shorts. Sounds like a boomer.
Talking about the PayPal mafia and how Elon wasn't just this brilliant guy who read books alone. He did read. His sister said he used to read 2 books a day. So what I talked about in this whole video on how they can't control you, how you can be knowledgeable and wise and wealthy, healthy, wealthy, wise, for sure comes from reading books. But in addition, he amplified it by connecting with other humans. That's an amplification of the network effect. And make no mistake, it's in great part why he became the richest man in modern times. That network effect is very powerful. So books bring a network effect. I like books for people who are dead. If you want to learn from Charlie Munger, he's dead. If you want to learn from Voltaire.
Yeah, I actually prefer books only from dead people. I would not, why read a book about someone who's alive when you just read dead people books instead? What are you saying? Sir, are you okay? Please
they're dead. But there's also, you need a living network of why sharp PayPal mafia. So you have your own PayPal mafia. So my private client is not just working directly with me, but I've got my 300 group connecting you to 300 smart people. I mean, I've got people in the 300 group. I remember the first time a billionaire rolled in, you know, and people actually, I did an event for 300 group in London the other day. It's a guy sitting in the front row next to young entrepreneurs making $1 million a year. They didn't realize they were sitting next to the largest landowner in Europe. He had billions. But that network effect, he actually got a benefit from these young entrepreneurs because he wants to use social media to grow some of his companies. And they got a benefit of the network effect of a dude in his 60s, you know, who's built billion valuation entities or controlled $1 billion plus, multiple billions in real estate. So I see that in effect. So text me, WhatsApp me, the word private.
I'm sorry, but people who build their wealth in real estate, least impressive way you could build wealth, allegedly, in my opinion, just as an aside.
With a couple sentences on what you're doing, what revenue's at, what's working for you, what's not. And my team can set up a call or a 15-minute call or tell you more how the program works. I sometimes answer myself too. So click here or text here. I'll also put a link if you prefer to fill out a form. You can text or fill out a form. All right. Until the next walking vlog, be informed. They won't be able to control you, and they're trying.
Yeah, they're trying to control. Bubba's crying. I'll be right back. I gotta grab him. Oh, buddy.
We reverse gazumped a greedy landlord, and it was glorious. Gazumping occurs when an agent or seller accepts an offer you make to buy property at an agreed price, but the property is then sold to someone else. This usually happens when the vendor sells the property for a higher amount. Ooh, I've heard of this happening.
I didn't realize another video was gonna start. You want to go? Okay, bye. See you later. Wow, that was chaotic. Sorry, everyone. Welcome back. I guess it just played my YouTube recommended. Okay, what was I gonna do? I wanted to look at this. Sorry, Bubba really wanted back in the room, and now he's just sitting here staring at the floor. I'm trying to turn the webcam back on. You can see, hi, buddy.
Welcome back. Did you miss your friends?
Okay, I need a moment to recover from all of that. Yeah, I think we all do. That was a lot. I just can't believe that this guy is still shilling his coaching when he's literally being sued by the government. Like, who's going to buy this? I want to know. Is everyone okay? That's what I want to know. I also wanted to look up, what was he saying at the end there? He's talking about, hold on. Okay, I'm going to see if anyone on Reddit is talking about this. Tai Lopez still selling coaching. Hold on. Welcome to my live action Google search. It's like, what is this person saying? Do I believe I'm a scam? Haha. I gotta log in. This is so annoying. I hope no one is calling him. That's what I want to know. I want to know, how is he still, Tai Lopez, still selling coaching? Like, what? Why are you crying, buddy? What is the matter? Bubba's so depressed. From what I can find, he is in Denmark, then the US, and Denmark has an extradition treaty, so he can't exactly hide. Yeah, and somebody else mentioned like NATO, so I don't really know. Yeah, why is, let's Google it. Why is Tai Lopez in Denmark? Okay, so apparently he hosts a mastermind there. Tai Lopez is in Denmark to host a business and personal development mastermind in Copenhagen. Let me just move the camera, bubbies. Oh my god. Oh my god. Ah! This is just very chaotic. When is it not, right? Am I right? Okay, we're back. He's back. Bubba's back. Oh, you can't even see him. There he is. Hi, buddy. Bubba's having a tough time, okay? We must be patient. Monica says, I guess people don't want to believe and for some illogical reasons still believe in him. I'm sure there's like a certain level of cognitive dissonance that comes with, I don't know, investing probably tens of thousands of dollars in mentorship to then find out that your mentor is a fraud and you've been implementing his 67-step system or whatever the hell it is. And now you're like, holy shit, this guy's being sued for millions of dollars of fraud? That can't be right because I've believed everything he's said this whole time. And if he's a fraud, what does that make me? I better hire him again. The comments to this video are hilarious. Okay, that's what I wanted to do. I was like, what was I doing? I want to read through the comments on this video. Okay, so this was the video we just watched. And it says, are you going to have to sell that Lamborghini? I'm pretty sure he got rid of it back in 2019. Bro already on the run. He is in Denmark in this video. Bro, the SEC wants that knowledge. Bro stressing hard. Tai now looks like this emoji in his video. Time to move into the knowledge garage. Buddy. This aged well. Knowledge. Please edit prior to posting. Bro, or what is Lil Bro doing in Denmark? Leave, please. Has Tai Lopez moved to Europe? Game over. He's confused accountability with control. LMAO, say it ain't so, bro. This guy never gonna see that garage again. Is he wearing a wig? 100% hair dye, buddy. Tai is stressed with all of his lawsuits. You're the reason Adblock was created. Is there a glass in those frames or an empty frame? I think those are glasses that have headphones built into them. Bro thinks he's Pablo Escobar on the run. 7K views with 2.5 million subs. No, it probably has way more views now because only 20K. I'm surprised. Like, I'm only watching this because I'm following along what's happening. So I'm surprised it doesn't have more views. But I guess if you're outside of the coaching industry, you probably don't really give a crap about who Tai Lopez is. Different country. That's from Denmark. The area is quite recognizable. I learned so much from this man over the years. I can only wish you the best. Oh no, Victor. No. Word. His insights have helped my career. Nobody's perfect. Oh my God. The mental gymnastics people will play to convince themselves that someone they've invested in is not a scammer is just truly so devastating to me. So sad. Please just don't send him to South Africa. Yeah, I'm bummed. I got to step 59 and was so close, but now what do I do? That's probably what people are saying, honestly. Are you in the US? Is the book garage with you? How long is it going to take for him to turn off the comments? This is fire, Tai. Is that guy being serious? Lost cause, get a job. Look at citations and evidence before believing facts shared online. Is this person saying that ironically or seriously? Is this similar to the Liver King crash out? Honestly, that's the vibe I'm getting. Tai, we love you and support you. I know you're not a scammer, and I hope the truth comes and shuts every hater's mouth. Oh, no. Honestly, again, I think that's just like the mental gymnastics people will play to convince themselves that they made a good investment. And to that, I can say that I've been there. So it doesn't end well. Nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes, right? So true. Oh my God. What a wild ride. Is there anything else you guys want me to look up about this guy before we sign off here? Because that was a lot. Bubba, why are you tooting? Bubba's tooting. It's kind of gross. Just like trapped in this room with this dog that won't stop farting. Bubbies. Stinky. iCat Max says, also, I only know about Tai because of CoffeeZilla. Once CoffeeZilla sees you, you know it will end bad. Yeah, no one ever survives a CoffeeZilla video, that's for sure. When the victims defend the very scammers, it's the disconnect. Yeah, they don't want to admit they got scammed. 100%. Which, again, I get. I forgot this guy existed. Now I know he got busted. Yay. Honestly, the whole point of why I wanted to cover this is, well, first of all, because he is like a get-rich-quick guru, and he always has been, allegedly, in my opinion. But he's not necessarily like a coach of other coaches. He does fall into this like make money online, be your own boss kind of grift. And I really just hope that this kind of sets a precedent for the types of cases that I'm hopeful we're going to start seeing more and more, specifically in the coaching industry. Because, well, I'm not necessarily, you know, a coach and then you hire me as your coach and I take your money and I give it to a different coach who I'm promising returns on. I do think there still is a similar air of like selling hopes and dreams to people and then not delivering on those promises. And so I am very curious to see if we start to see more cases, specifically in the online space, of people who are selling the dream of making money and not delivering on those promises of the dream. So curious to see how this all unfolds. If there are, you know, other revelations in this case, we can definitely cover it again in another stream in future. If you had a good time, please consider giving the stream a thumbs up, as it does help me in the algorithm. And we're going to leave it at that for today. I'm going to go and open the window because Bubba won't stop farting and it smells really bad in here. So I hope you all have a really good day. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.